Hi guys, welcome to my video. Today I will be talking about the seven heavens and how they have to do with the seven planets, the seven chakras, and the seven deadly sins, and also how you can heal them with using astrology and also using like simple tips that I can give you, like daily tips. So if you want to listen to that, keep watching. I will start with Saturn, which to me is also, it's gonna be like through my opinion, I guess, through my view and through my views and my like what I have researched. So keep that in mind. Okay, so I will start with Saturn, or actually I'm gonna start with, which one should I start with? Jupiter. I'll start with Jupiter since I think that's the crown chakra, according to me, of course. So I think Jupiter is basically abundance, So if you look at it in the seven heavens, I would call it abundance. Of course, if it is misused or misdirected, it would be greed. So that would be the sin, greed. So what I think about it is that it is basically when you are not grateful for what you have, and basically you want more and more because nothing ever fills you up. You know what I mean? Like, and of course this could be in any context. It could be money wise, it could be food wise, it could be even sexual wise. It could be in any, basically in any way that you deal with it in life. Some people are greedy, like that they don't want to share. Some people are greedy that they just want too much of a thing. So you have to make sure you know how you view greed, of course, and how it affects your life. But I believe that greed leads you to hoarding, accumulating, because you're basically like kind of also fearful of letting things go or of not having enough of something. So you have to look to like your past or your childhood. What made you feel like you don't deserve, or that you will lack at some point, What is the fear that is causing that? You have to, of course, dig deep into your subconscious. So you have to be ready for the answers as well. But yeah, I think that when you get like even territorial, you can be over like your stuff because you don't want no one to take it away from you, and that's where greed comes from. You need to know how to have something and know that it is yours. If it is yours, it is meant to be yours. If it is not, then it's not meant to be yours. So you have to know, you have to trust in the universe or in God or whatever it is that you believe in. You have to trust that what is meant for you is yours, and be grateful for it too, because there's some people who have so much and keep getting and getting, but they don't see the value of it, and that's why they can never fill themselves up. And sometimes you also need to figure out what you're trying to fill up, because sometimes you have a hole that is missing something. It could be self-love, it can be outward love, it could just be any kind of hurt that you have, and that you're trying to fill up with food, with money, with excess things. So you have to figure out what it is that you're trying to fill out or fill up. And you gotta also learn how to be grateful about even the smallest things. Being grateful of having another day to live, being grateful of having food to eat, being grateful of having clothes, you know, because there's a lot of people who don't and wish they could. So if you have it, be grateful for it. Even if you are struggling to get by, think about being grateful about how there's someone out there that has less than you and they're still making it out alive. You know what I mean? So I think that's one. I think that's basically like the whole thing of it. But once you start being more grateful, having basically a clear why as why you want something and why you have something, and also taking advantage of what you have, because you can also have so many things and not use them. And basically that is hoarding. You're not using your stuff, you're just keeping it there just to like fill up this sense of self that isn't real through material. So you have to, yeah. And I think that if you do start to heal that, start to like be grateful every day of the small things, not, you know, be like scared to lose things, because what is yours is going to be yours. And if it left, or if you lost it, or if it's gone, it might be for a reason, for your own better, to either teach you something or to grow you into a better person. So yeah, I think that if you heal that, you will be abundant. You just have to learn how to use abundance in a way that is good. And it's, hold on, yeah, it's like basically it's growth without gratitude, you know. You're growing without seeing the like how you've grown, what you have. It could even be like jealousy towards other people because you don't even realize what you have, you know. Like you need to realize that what you have right now is meant to be yours right now. And if you are grateful for it and you keep using the things that you have, then you will definitely have more of what you want than in the future. So yeah, that is abundance. That's the, I don't know, I'm not gonna like number the heavens because I don't have them numbered right now, but that's one of the heavens, which is greed, the crown chakra, or Jupiter, whichever you, or abundance. Because if it's, of course, with every sin comes like the heaven. So you just need to learn how to use it and how to be wise with what you have and what you are given. And so the second one I will do is Saturn, which is as heaven. I would say structure, graced, like graceful structure. I will say that's the heaven. That's how I would call this heaven. And it's also the eye chakra, and I did not check, hold on. Okay, yes, so this one as a sin would be envy. I would call it envy. So with Saturn, basically it's limitations, comparison, I would say. Give me a second. Okay, time and boundaries. That's what I would call this one. So of course, if you have good boundaries, you will be able to use your time wisely because you're using it on something that grows you and grows the people around you in turn. So I would say like this has to be graceful structure. So like you can't structure yourself in something that you don't like or don't believe in. So if you wake up every morning at 4 in the morning to work out but you hate it, then I don't believe that's graceful structure. I think that a better way of doing it is waking up at 5. Or if you like to wake up early and you love it, then that's great. Of course, that this is why everyone is different and why everyone has to heal differently. But yeah, okay, so like more like for me, I could wake up at 5 in the morning and work out, do my HIIT workout and or like weight workout, and be up really early, but I do not like that. So personally, I do not like waking up early. So even though I still wake up early, I will not overdo myself. um so maybe waking up at 6:30 is a better idea. Waking up at 6:30, I'll be doing my journaling or my morning pages, as I call it. And once I'm done with that, I'll do it while laying down too, so that I can like so that I can rest while I'm doing this, because you can't just wake up like super excited every day. It's not that easy. So yeah, I'll do that while laying down, while my brain wakes up a little bit, starts ranting these crazy thoughts that I've got, or dreams that I dreamed that night. And so I'll do that first, and then once my brain is already woken up, I will do a little bit of yoga or like a normal HIIT or a normal weight workout, like nothing that is too much, nothing that is too crazy, because if not, then I will be stressed and it will not be a graceful structure, basically. So basically it's beating yourself too hard, like outdoing yourself. That's why a Capricorn is more like, it's a very hardworking sign, because they demand the best of themselves. And usually, sometimes, like, of course, they'll be like high vibe, and what they're doing is like what they want to do. But when they're doing things out of like fear or comparison, or but yeah, like, comparison to like be better than someone else, or fear of what they will say, then it becomes like a limitation, I would say. Because instead of doing something that you like, you're doing something that you don't like, and it's becoming a routine that you do not want. So that's what I would call a ungraceful structure. Okay, so for that one, I would use envy, because sometimes you will be comparing yourself and say like, I wish I was like this person, so I will try really hard to do what they're doing, when that was never meant for you in the first place. You were meant, it's like if you are envying someone that is in the business career or road, or whatever you would say, and you are meant to be an artist, or you are meant to be a athlete, like, of course, if you keep like structuring your life to be in business when that's not meant for you, then it's gonna grow like envy. It's gonna grow unhappiness, not wanting to like, like just unhappiness with your life. So that's what I would call it. And also boundaries, I would believe, is a very important with this one, because if you don't have boundaries, you basically let people do whatever you want with you. So basically you become resentful, because instead of helping other people because you're so full and your cup is so full, you're helping them in either you think you have to do it, or you feel you have to do it. So you need to realize what your priorities are and set boundaries as to what they are. So that's one thing I would say about that. Okay, and then it also turns into envy, because you are resenting that another person is happy, or you're like, why are they happy if I'm doing basically what they are doing, but I'm not happy? And you start building resentment, because you're not giving yourself what you really want, and then that becomes envy. So that turns into the sin. But if you give yourself good structure, things that are gonna help you, what you're gonna want to do in life, so some people are trying to be bodybuilders, so they have to eat a lot of protein and work out super hard with weights. Some people want to be lean, so they have to eat less calories and they have to do Pilates, you know? Some people have a lot of anger in them or have a lot of energy, which they can exercise in more of like a athletic way, maybe boxing, running, you know, something that gets your heart pumping, gets your energy out, um, to balance basically. And what else? What else can be one? You know, like you can be, you would want to be feminine, but you're more of a, I wouldn't say masculine, but yeah, like you, maybe you're more masculine and you want to be more feminine when you really are not, or you're trying to be, you know, like it's just different things for everyone, of course. Or like some people are joyful in waking up early, some people are joyful in sleeping in a few hours, and that's okay either way. So that's what I would say. And what else? But yeah, I think for that one, it would be structure that fits to your life, boundaries that will help you get that structure in order. Because also, like, if you help too much, then how are you ever going to help yourself? It's okay to help and it's okay to do, but are you doing it for someone to congratulate you? Are you doing it for someone to be happy when in real life you have to make yourself happy? You know what I mean? So yes, do making the routines that you want to do and improve for yourself. Like doing your makeup. If that makes you happy, do your makeup. If you want to be more natural, do your skincare. Everyone has their different, or well, both would be good. You know, if you want to do both, you can also do both. If you don't want to do none, you don't have to do none. It all depends on what your wants and needs are, and that's why it's very important to be by yourself and know yourself. And this is why Saturn also brings um what do you call it, isolation, because you're basically learning, you need to learn yourself in order to give yourself the structure that you need to grow into the person that you're meant to become. So yeah, and so in the heaven, I would say this is structure, graceful structure, and for the sin it would be envy. Yes, so that would be that one. The next one is okay, I'm gonna do Mars next. So the next one would be Mars. For the heaven, I'm gonna call this the power, the heaven of power, basically. And this one is the root chakra, and it's also, as the sin, wrath. That's what I would call it, or that's what it is basically called. Yeah, so I'm gonna say for this one, I'm gonna say it becomes wrath when you built up so much anger, either because you're not doing, again, this all kind of connects to each other, of course, but you're not doing the things you want in life, or you're letting someone treat you bad, or you're just, you were taught to be angry as a child, you know, like you, that's all you knew, that's all you saw, so that's you think that's what that is, that outbursts of anger, that being angry is gonna help you, you know, be more powerful, when in reality overdoing anger is not powerful at all. It's actually seen as a weakness, it's seen as weak. So I would say for this one would be the root chakra, because it's basically like your foundation, your courage. It's like the courage you have to do things. So I would say that overtly courage, like without restriction, it doesn't lead to anything good, because yes, you may be feared, but but in deep inside you're not happy. Your anger is taking over your basically your whole body. It's like a fire burning you down, when in reality you can use anger when it's needed. Of course, I'm not saying anger is a bad emotion to have, because it is one of the best emotions you can have, because anger leads you to knowledge. It leads you to knowing what you think you deserve, what you know you deserve, what, you know, being a protector, being a protective person, whether you're a mom or a husband or a wife, whatever you are, you're using that anger to be protective, to know what you deserve in this life. Because if something is triggering you, if something is making you mad, it's because you believe that it's not right. It's not right for you, it's not right for someone else. So use the anger wisely. Use it in a way where you can teach, and you can also learn, you know. So that's what I would say about Mars. And I think if you learn how to use your anger, you can be very powerful. That's why I would call this the heaven of power, because power means being like who you are, not being scared or letting people treat you however they want, knowing your worth basically. And also this one would be, so sorry, I lost my train of thought, but yeah, so this is what I would say about this one. So let me give you an example. Let's say, like, let's talk about Hitler, for example. He, in some way, he blocked himself of what he wanted to do at one point in life. Maybe it was when he was a child, maybe it was when he was a teen. No one really knows. I don't really know anyway. Maybe some of you do know. If you do, let me know. But he, instead of using the power that he could have had to help this world, and not only the world but himself, he used it in hatred. He used it in a way to hurt others, because maybe that's how he was hurt, you know. And I'm not like on his side at all, of course, but he used his anger in a bad way, and that's what turned him into a wrathful person. So that's what I would say about that one. So if he used his power to change this world for whatever hatred he had, or whatever he hated himself for, and did what he actually wanted to do, and gave himself love instead of anger, maybe he would have been able to change this world in a different way. But of course, over anger is never good. Of course, it's never good. So that's what I would say. And I would say, yeah, so for the heavenly, I would call it power. For the sin, I would call it wrath. The next one I'm gonna do is the sun. The sun, yes. So the sun, I would say, is the heaven of the self, or your soul, who you really are past the ego. Because I feel like ego and sense of self are two different things. So yeah, and for this one, I would say this one is the solar chakra, and it is, the sin would be pride for this one, because pride is basically very equivalent to ego. So sometimes when we are hurt in one way or another, maybe it's with words, maybe it's through actions, whatever way, we build up this fake, I don't know, it's like a protection veil, you know. Like, some people will turn it into very, 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 like, evilistic, like, you know, alter ego, I would call it. That is, not all of them are evil. Some of them are just very prideful, you know. Like, I don't know how I would call it, but yeah, so you build this fake sense of self that is supposed to be there to protect you or to help you look better than in like other people's eyes, basically. Also, I would say this is like, yeah, so like this is like you in like an inflation of the self, basically, of your identity. It's a blurred sense of identity, I would say, because you are very powerful and you can be the best of yourself without having the ego there, you know, to protect you, because you gotta believe that you are safe. You don't need protection, because then if you feel like you need protection, then this world is going to give you reasons to need it. And well, that is not good. You need to learn how to nurture yourself, basically. So in this one, it's very important to know who you are, what your soul is, who your soul is, and what it needs in order to succeed, basically. Because authenticity, which I would kind of connect to the self, is one of the most important, and I've heard scientifically that it is. I'm not saying, I don't know if this is real, but I'm almost sure it is, that authenticity is a big, the highest vibration there is, basically. That if you're authentic and you know who you are and you are who you are, that is the highest you can vibe. And that's why I say that everyone is different. Everyone's chakras are supposed to be balanced different. We're not all supposed to be kind to like a core. Some people are meant to be protective, some people are meant to be loud, some people are meant to be quiet or quieter, because no one should completely be quiet, you know, like in the sense that you shouldn't let people just walk all over you, I guess you can say. But yeah, so I would say that this one is very important to get through, because it might be one of the hardest to get through. I mean, all of them are hard, and depending on where you are in life or where you are in your journey. But this one's a pretty hard one to get past, because you basically have been building this ego since you were a kid, or since wherever the first hurt started. And so some people forget who they really are because of this pride. So that's why I'm calling this one, the sin would be pride and the heaven would be self and identity and knowing who you are, because they're two different things. I don't know if you guys have seen like videos. I think Mr. Rager, Kid Cudi, is a good representation of this, of the pride, where basically there's like two of him and he has to fight, like he's fighting himself, basically, because that one self has become too powerful or too evil or too not him, you know. um and he almost loses. I don't know, I don't remember if he really does completely lose. I don't think so, but he's almost losing because he's almost forgetting his sense of self. He's almost forgotten who he really is because of this pride, because of this mask that he put on, or this person he created that wasn't really him, the genuine him, you know, the genuine you. So that's why you need to learn how to see what is ego and what is yourself. That's an everyday choice that you have to make every day. You have to see if you're wasting your money on a car because it brings you pride, because people are gonna be like, oh, look at that guy in that car, you know, or wearing clothes that don't fit who you are because it's what everyone else is wearing. And if you wear something different, they're gonna make fun of you. You need to learn to I don't know how you would even say that. to not to know what is your self and what is your ego. And that's why I'm saying it is kind of hard, because how do you know, like how can you tell if these both of these people are you? but one is the one you created to be like this savior basically of you, of the insecure you, or the one that wasn't able to fully develop because of fear, because of comparison, because of whatever reason. Shame is one of the worst killers of all. It's one that causes a lot of suicides, that causes a lot of just hatred, you know, towards others and towards yourself because of shame. You should look at shame as something you never should have of yourself. I know maybe we've all done things that we are not proud of, but you gotta see how those decisions are gonna make you into who you are, even if they were super horrible. If you have truly changed, and if that was truly a mistake that you have done, there's no reason to be ashamed. We are humans. We came into this world to sin. We came in this world to learn. We came into this solar system to work through our problems. So don't feel shamed. We all go through things, and there's a person that might do something worse than you, and they will still forgive themselves. So don't ever shame yourself for anything that you have done, because I assure you that most likely you have already paid for it, or you are paying for it right now, and that's why you're feeling the shame, you know? And yeah, shame is a not good one. It messes with your self, your sense of self. So don't fall into that. But yeah, so do the things you like, dress how you like, figure out what you like. If you like to watch Spider-Man and you're forced to watch Batman because other people around you don't like Spider-Man, that is not a good thing. I'm wearing Spider-Man colors right now actually, but yeah, do the things that please you, that really please you. You need to learn how to differentiate in between those things. Is it what other people want, or is it what you want? Because if it's not what you want, then you shouldn't be doing it at all. It doesn't matter if it's for your mom, for your dad, for your kids, unless it's like, of course, you have to keep them safe. As long as it is not hurting anybody, then that's what I'm trying to say, you know? And yeah, that's what I would say about the sun, the soul. And if you really pay attention to your soul, you will figure out what you really like. And if you start following those, you'll see how your life will completely change. Yeah, so I would say the next one, Venus, which for the heaven I would call it love. This one would be the sacral chakra, and I would say this sin would be lust. That's what I will be. Yeah, that's my connection. Yeah, so Venus basically, hold on, sorry. Okay, yeah. So lust, I'm going to say, is a desire without love, basically, you know, like without reverence, without a true reason of love. Well, love, basically. I that's so crazy. I just got a what is it called? Notification that says love is life. Weird. But anyway, yeah, so I would say lust is desire without love. Because that's what I would call lust. It's something, it's like you desiring or having this desire for things that you don't even love. You just want to use them. You just want to feel temporary pleasure from it. You're not, it's like being not present. It's like something that is brought onto us since we're very young, you know, like we see that like in commercials. I feel like this is a way in where they have made us like lustful, or in like some movies or some music videos even, like where they show that this person is he has like abundance of women. And if you love women and you love them for real, like if you want 3 wives but you really love them, and then that's fine. But if you're just having them just to like try to fulfill your this empty, you know, hole, then that's what I would call lust. Or what else? Like when they put a bunch of ads of food, like you start to desire the food even though you don't even want it, even though you might not even like it. And you start having like this desire without presence, basically. Um, that's why being present is very important for this one. Even sexually, whenever you are, I know this is a little bit rated R, but like when having sexual things, that's why it's very important to be present, because if not, it's basically taking your energy instead of giving you energy. That's why I don't know how to say it, but I don't know if I should even say that here, but you know, like how some people are addicted to watching things they shouldn't be watching. That's lust, because you are filling in a hole that cannot be filled by desiring a bunch of like stuff, you know. um so yeah, and that's why I would call this one heaven is love. The love, Venus is the heavenly love, or the heaven of love, because you need to, again, that's why you have to be aligned. That's why all these chakras are supposed to be aligned, because you need to know what you like, which comes from sun, the soul, in order to know what you love, you know. I don't know if that's the same thing that I just said, but yeah, is what you're desiring out of true love, is it like this burning desire, basically, like, you know, like that's why let me, you know, I don't know if you guys have read Think and Grow Rich, but it basically keeps telling you over and over how you have to have a burning desire. Also, Lana Del Rey, Burning Desire, the song, I think it also has to do with this. You have to know what your burning desires are, the ones that are burning through your skin, that you're like, and not because it's gonna make you look better, not because it's gonna make you feel better, but because it's something you love so much that you just know it's yours, you know. And that's why true love is so hard to have nowadays. Why so many people don't even know what love is, because they don't even know themselves. So it is very important to know yourself and to know what you love in order to heal this chakra. How can I how can I make examples out of this one? And also, like, that's why this is like we came to this world or this earth to grow. You know, that's why time exists. That's why Saturn is time, because you go through these limitations, you build the routines, you start learning who you are. And that's why it's so, like, I just read this interview with ASAP Rocky, and I think it's just him, where he says that he always knew that Rihanna was the one, that even his mama would always tell him, like, that she's the one, that why doesn't he, you know, be with her? And he would be like, no, mama, we're just friends, or whatever. And he said that if they had met earlier, that he always didn't feel like something towards her, you know, like he always knew something. And they made this video called Fashion Killer together, which their chemistry was pretty damn good. So that is pretty crazy. But yeah, so he said that if they wouldn't have met at the time that they met, if they would have met earlier, he wouldn't have been ready, and neither would she. So that's why I say time is very important. That's why things are not given to you just like that, and which is good, because if you had everything, which you basically do, in a certain realm, you already have everything. But that's why we grow to get it, because we have to learn the importance of it and to be really grateful for what you have. Because if you just had, it's like a spoiled kid. If you just get whatever you want, basically you don't, what are you like, you know, like you, if you know you can have that all the time, what is the point of life, you know? That's what causes excess, you know, being spoiled too much. And anyway, what else, where was I? Oh yeah, so wait, where was I in Venus? I was in Venus. So hold on. Okay, yeah, so yeah, that's the one I would call, that one's my favorite one. I've always said love is my favorite. I feel like I've always known what I've loved, the movies that I've loved, the songs that I've loved, the themes that I've loved, the colors, you know, like since I was a kid, my favorite movies were princess movies, um, or love movies, love stories, even the novelas, the love ones. I was obsessed with them. I was also obsessed with the colors pink and red. I am a Venus rising, but I'm a Leo sun. Um, and I don't know, I've always been obsessed with love, with the queens, like, or the goddesses of love. And also, this is why it's very important to look into the things you like, because as I started to look into or watching more movies about love, it started to make me realize that is what I want in life. That is what I came here for, to not only know what love is, but maybe to help others get to know where their love is. You know what I mean? But yeah, so those all were like, it was like, you know, connected like a web of who I am. It's like, you know how sometimes when you were in school and they would make you make these like webs of a book you were gonna make, or like, you know, the little webs of chapters, and or like what else, you know, like those little webs where you connect like a bunch of things of yourself or what you like, or maybe even collages. um that's why collages are very important, because it's like telling you what you like, what you're attracted to, why, and you like, why do you have like such a strong feeling towards that thing, you know? So yeah, learn the difference between lust and love, because it's very important. um and I believe we all came here to learn the true meaning of love, whether it's love towards a person, whether it's love towards a hobby, whether it's love towards yourself, whether it's love towards family, you know, whatever it is. I believe that's what we came here to learn, which is our focus. Yeah, so I believe it's very important one. Okay, so if you guys have any questions of each of these, you guys can ask me in the comments. I will try to answer if of course, if this video well, like, expands or whatever. The next one I'm gonna say is Mercury. So we have two more, Mercury and the Moon, but I'm gonna go with Mercury first because I'm going in order of how the planets are placed in the seven heavens. So Mercury is, of course, the mind. A lot of you already know that. And I'm gonna say the chakra is the throat chakra because it's also voice, communication. And I'm gonna say for the sin, I'm gonna say sloth. That's the one I chose for this one. So the reason why I chose sloth for this one is because basically Mercury is movement, it is mind, it is intelligence, it is communication, you know, it's like all those things that require movement of some sort, whether it's movement of the voice, movement of of your mind, whatever it is, this is what I'm gonna say is sloth. So when you are blocked of, when your mind is blocked because either you're thinking too much of other stuff, or because you have like postponed so many things, it causes this, like, I don't know, this pattern of not ever doing what you wanted to do, which I would call what is the word? I don't know it right now. Sorry for my mind. It is a little bit crazy in here, I guess, talking about mind. The one that you, the what is it called? The one that you, where you postpone things like so much, you know, because you're looking at TikToks, or because you're filling up your mind with things that are not meant to fill up your mind, you know. Like, if you're watching TikToks on what you're gonna cook today, and you're really gonna cook something that you're gonna watch on TikTok, then I would call that a smart, you know, scroll, or a smart search, or whatever you would say. But if you're just trying to distract your mind with whatever it is that you're watching or on, then I believe that is, oh, I can't believe I forgot what it's called. Procrastination. Yes, there you go. Procrastination. And I believe this is one of the deadly sins, because it keeps you from being who you really are. It keeps you from becoming who you really are, because you're living in like this stuckness of life. Your mind is stuck. It's not, your thoughts and your mind and your body are not on the same level. You might have this active mind, but your body's not working with you, or you might have this active body, but your mind's not working with you. Either way, it's an out of whack with body and mind. And while you can't really get to where you're going if you're not doing the things that you are supposed to be doing, like Saturn structure, you're instead overindulging and not doing what you're supposed to be doing. And this is why I believe they're all connected, if you guys realize. Like, if your Saturn, if your structure is out of whack, then so is your mind. And if your mind is out of whack, then so is your soul, on and on and on, you know. That's why they have to be balanced. Balance is a key word here. Yeah, but of course, like, that's why you have to know what you like to do. Again, connected. Because if you don't, and you're doing the things you don't like to do, who would want to even get up, you know? Like I said, if you have this hard ass this hard workout in the morning, you're not looking forward to it. Like, you're like, nah, I don't even want to wake up. I'd rather just distract my mind a little bit and chill, or sleep a little longer. So that causes sloth. It causes you to be a sloth. So that's why you need to look forward to something every day. Every morning you have to do something that you look forward to. Some people it's getting ready. Some people it is a workout, and that's perfectly fine. Some people it's a warm bath or a warm shower. For some people it's a cup of coffee. You know, everyone has their own desires, their own real desires. So you have to figure out what those are, what your true meaning of what you want is. That way you can follow it and not want to be distracted, but actually want to have that structure, your set routine, in order to get there. Yeah, so I would say for this one, you really have to learn how to control your mind, how to have power over your mind. Because if you can't get yourself out of bed to do something you really like, you're gonna stay there. You're not gonna get the things that you need to do done, and it causes like this stuck feeling, not only in your body but in your mind. Your mind isn't growing, your intellect isn't growing, you're nothing. So yeah, that's what I would call Mercury and sloth. So basically feed your mind with the right, and also that's why complete silence is very important sometimes. Complete silence and trying to turn those thoughts off, because those running thoughts can be literally stealing your joy. Thinking what this person might be saying about you, or what people would say if you said something, you know, throat chakra. It keeps you stuck. It keeps you like in a frozen, you know, like, what is that called? Freeze, whatever. I don't know what it's called, but like you're stuck in freeze mode basically, because you're thinking of all these things that don't really matter, that are not important to you, that even though they seem like they're important to you because it's all what your mind talks about, it's not. Fill your mind up with things that you actually like, and also do them. You have to be action oriented. And yeah, a lot of people's throat chakras are stuck because you're scared to say something, because your mind is telling you to be scared. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. You need to learn how to communicate what you feel, what you think you deserve. The truth is very important. And if you don't like something, voice it. And if you do like something, voice that too. This helps this chakra a lot, because I also believe that sloth is like someone who doesn't want to be either judged, they don't want to be, I don't know, like they're just stuck in their room for years or days because they're afraid to go out and do the things they like, communicate the things they like. And so they rather just sleep all day, you know? This one I did not write too much on, so I think that's all I'm gonna say for this one. But of course it is very important. It's the mind. Mind is one of the most important things. If your mind is not connected to your body, then there's nothing, basically. We wouldn't be humans. We would be animals or something, and even animals are smart. They have a mind. The next one I would say is moon. Okay, the next one is the moon, and I'm going to say this one is connected to the heart, which I'm going to explain to you what the difference between heart and soul is too. And emotions. That's the one, that's the heaven, I would call it. Hearts, your heart and your emotions. This one would be, what is this? Hold on. Moon. Okay, so yeah, this one would be the heart chakra. Okay, so this one is the same, gluttony. That's what I would call it, gluttony. So the reason why I would call this one glutton or gluttony is because you basically have like this emotional hunger. There's appetite that cannot be fulfilled through food, basically. So appetite, comfort, excess. So this causes excess when it's unbalanced. So I would say that because when your heart is not when your heart is empty, you again try to fill it in with things that are not good for you. or feel good at the moment, but in the long run are not good for you. So food is um, a very big filler for a lot of people. If you think about it, that's why they fill the meat up with so much filler, because people cannot be fulfilled with a simple burger, you know? Instead of getting your whatever grams of protein a day within a meal, they have to fill it up with more filler, because your stomach cannot be fulfilled, because it's not an actual stomach hunger, it's a emotional hunger. And yeah, so let's start with why I think the heart, or what I think the differences between soul and heart is. So I feel like the soul is the spiritual, like the spiritual heart, basically. I would say it's it's like who you are, who you know you are, who was put in you or has been you for eternity. It knows who you are. That's why you are born with likes and dislikes. That's why you are born with opinions, because you are who you are and you've always been that person, unless changed by the opinions of others. You know who you are when you're a kid, you know, until someone tells you to shut up because you're too loud, or to, like, you know, like, be alone because you're too much, you know, things like that. And when you feel like you're too much, or your emotions have become too much, you try to suppress them, basically. And when you suppress your emotions for too long, you start to have to fill it in. You have to fill in, like, what you have suppressed. You fill it in with food. You fill it in with comfort, which also, like, is similar to greed in a way. You're basically never full, because you cannot suppress an appetite that doesn't have to do with actual materialistic things. That's why in the Bible, or like in a lot of books, like religious books, when God is talking to them, he tells them, like, I'm gonna feed you with my word, and you will not be hungry. Because I'm not saying that you have to read the Bible to be full, because we all have different, you know, versions of the things that we need, or the words that we need, or whatever it is that we do need. But I think you need to look into things like that also, because although I don't believe that the Bible is, like, completely the way it comes, I believe there's a lot of metaphors in it that you need to figure out for yourself. But you need to come to this level of understanding before you start to, like, see the metaphors, or see the, you know, whatever. But yeah, so I guess the first thing would be to comfort yourself, to learn how to comfort yourself. You need to learn how to feel your emotions, or control your emotions in a way where you are doing it for yourself. So let's say, as an example, you eat a lot of food when you're depressed or anxious. You know how there's people who eat when they're anxious or depressed, or heartbroken, you know, or even on your period, because your emotions are out of whack, literally. You need to find the root cause of that hunger. What is that hunger? What are you feeding yourself? Why are you feeding yourself that, when you could be feeding yourself with the real thing that you need? Some people, and that's why I believe reading is very important. Researching, learning, because sometimes you don't know how to use, or what emotions really are, you know? Like, like let's say someone gets you mad first thing in the morning, You get mad. Maybe sometimes it's not even because someone actually did something to you, but it's something you thought, like something like a thought that you thought. You know how we make up these crazy stories in our head, just to make ourselves miserable for a little bit. Yeah, so we think of this thing and it makes us angry. It turns us into wrath, you know. It makes us wrathful basically, and it's like then you hold on, hold on. So your anger turns into something so strong that it literally kicks love out of the picture, you know, for a little bit. Whatever it is, self-love, because usually it's self-love. You usually think like, oh, this person's gonna say something negative about my hair today or whatever, you know. So I'm gonna be angry at this person before I even see them because I already know how they are. And then you become anxious, and then you start to eat, and it's like this vicious cycle, you know. And that's why you need to learn how to control your emotions instead of straight away in the morning thinking of that. That's why it's so important to have a structure that you like to do, because then it all connects, like I said. And it's like this, that's why it's like this fear, because it basically all connects at some point. That's why in a lot of movies too, when you see that there's gonna be something that's crazy that's gonna happen, or something that's supposed to align, they show that the planets are aligned. I don't know, I've seen a few movies like that. But yeah. What was I saying? Yeah, so you become angry, then you're basically just angry and not filling yourself up with love, because even anger towards others is anger towards yourself in the end, because what you put out, you put in, you know. So if you're angry at someone else, you're basically angry at yourself because you think your hair is not good enough, and either because you're not working on it, you're not taking care of it, or you're ashamed of it, which all are wrong, because I don't like to say something is wrong, because eventually it leads you to a realization if you take things in the right way and make the right decisions, you know. Like maybe someone with, let's say, very greasy hair, they have to work more on their hair because for some reason in this life that's what you had to do, and that's what you have to do in order to feel better about yourself. And that's also a thing, you can't do it for others. If you're doing it just to like please someone else or like look good for someone else, you're never going to be fulfilled either way. So sometimes we need to realize that. And anyway, coming back to like gluttony, you a lot of people who don't have love or were not loved as a kid turn into like eating a lot of food. And that's the reason why, because you're trying to fill in love with food, and it can never work that way. And that's why you have to give yourself self-love, because that's where everything starts. Once you start loving yourself, guess what? Other people are going to start loving you too. I don't know why, it's a weird thing in life, but it actually works. It's something that just happens. It doesn't matter what you look like, who you are. When you start showing love towards yourself, it's like people see that little spark in you and they like want to, you know, come to you. So yeah, and this is not for other people either. This is for yourself, because once you start having self-love, you will definitely not need like other people's assurance basically. And yeah, and I guess for this one, affirmations would be very helpful, because even though I know that a lot of people don't believe in affirmations, or have tried affirmations and they think it failed, but it's not gonna work. It's like a muscle, like they've said before. It you can't you can't go from overweight to toned in one day. It doesn't work like, not even in a week, not even in a month sometimes, you know, like obviously a lot of times. So that's how affirmations are. It's, your brain is a muscle. You have to train it. You have to keep going every day to the mind gym and affirming what you want to feel. So if you feel ugly, if you were made to feel ugly when you were a kid or a teen or now, or you know, you're just insecure about something, have an affirmation for that. So if you think you're ugly, say, I'm beautiful every morning. You might not believe it at first, of course, but as the days go by, as you try, keep up with your routines, keep up with finding who you are, you're gonna start to actually like the person you see, the person you're meant to be. Because I've heard this before as like a cliche kind of thing, that we choose who we are supposed to look like in this life. And sometimes, like back then when I was younger, I would be like, why would I choose to look like this? You know, like, why would I choose my nose, or why would I choose my lips, or why would I choose, you know, like the insecurities you have. But then when you start following your path, when you start having your graceful routine, knowing the things that you like, you start to realize, and that even that's why it's important to know the things that you envy, because sometimes what you envy in others is what you can become. It's what you are missing from yourself that you want to bring out. And you feel like you can't, but you literally can. You have free will. We are, thankfully to God. And maybe this doesn't apply to everyone, but it kind of does. Sometimes that's why in some places there's more suppression, because we are raised to believe in that suppression and we don't think of other things, you know. And I know that it gets really hard. I've been through things that, you know, have made me feel really suppressed. This is why I feel like I can talk about it. But in the end, I feel like it was just me suppressing myself because of the beliefs that I had that were given to me as a child. Like that I'm never gonna be good enough, or that I am too much, or that something about me is not sacred, you know, like whether it's sexuality, whether it's your desires, the things that you really, really, not the no presents desires, but the ones that are burning desires, you know. Because a lot of women, and comes a lot with women, because I believe we are the ones that are suppressed the most. We are made to think that doing a bunch of things make you a bad person, when in reality you see all these other people doing it, males, and they're seen like good for it. Why is that, you know? If it was supposed to be bad, why isn't it bad for all of us together? So yeah. But of course you can't fall into lust or gluttony because of those thoughts, you know, because some of us are like, in order to get the revenge, we start to become this person that we're not, to try to control like our lives in a way, you know. I hope this is all making sense, because it's like, if you guys see my book, it's like a bunch of like, you know, crazy little pages, or little like, I don't know, words everywhere. But yeah, what was I saying? Oh yeah, that's yeah. So we are suppressed, and when we are suppressed, we try to fill, and we fill with things that are not meant for us, and that's what gets us overweight. That's what gets us unbalanced, basically. And well, too much of something is never good. It doesn't matter what it is. And that's what I was going to tell you guys about this, that the seven heavens are meant to be enjoyed. We are able to use these things, you know, like we are able to have amazing food, we are able to have love, we are able to have power, we are able to have ourselves, we are able to have structure and order, we are able to have emotions and feelings, and we are able to have our mind. Like, we have our mind, we are alive, we have life, we are able to have abundance. We are able to have abundance. All of us. Doesn't matter your background, it doesn't matter your race, your sex, it doesn't matter. Nothing matters. We are allowed to have all these things. We were brought here to have all of these things. Why would God have made us and not want, and why, like, you know, let's say it like this, why would he make someone that is able to have it and someone that is not? And I believe that's because it's our own thoughts. Our own thoughts create those lacks. Our own thoughts and beliefs and feelings and actions create the sins. Either you're overdoing or you're underdoing. That's why balance is so important. You have to have balance. You have to use every single one of these heavens wisely, because overdoing them is sin. But yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, so learning how to control our emotions, and that's why we have all these emotions. That's why we weren't just made with complete love, because maybe that's who God already is, you know. Wow, 1:11:11 when I said that. Crazy. I'm not like it sound like those tarot readers, but it was really 1:11:11. But yeah, God is basically it all already, so we came here to explore what he isn't, you know. Like, well, we are basically all him. Everything is him, but he made it in order for us to be able to explore it, you know. He made it in order to see if at one point we were all going to level, you know, to balance it. Are we able to balance it without even the knowledge of what it is that we're trying to balance, you know? Yeah, and it comes, that's why they say that, how they say that everything is already here, or it's already now. Everything is already now. Like, the life you're gonna live is already there. The past that you live is still there. Like, it's all still there, and it's all meant to be there, you know. Because I don't know, but yeah. And that's also why I believe that negative and positive was made, because we were meant to learn how to use it, because maybe that God has both, you know. I mean, I've read that he is all good, you know, but if he already is all good and all bad is made, did he make all bad? Like, I don't know how to explain it. So there's good, there's bad, and there's neutral, right? What we're trying to do is get to neutral, and that's why an X's of that's why there's like the X's and the lacks. So, like, you know how in Saturn you're feeling like you're lacking, and in Gluttony you're over excessing. We have to find the thin line between those and follow that line. Align our chakras, align our heavens, and control our sins. And yeah, I don't know what else I can tell you guys about this. I think that is enough. It's already been 1 hour that I've been talking, so I think that will be enough for this video. If you guys have any questions or want me to further explain any of these, of course let me know. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video, and I'll try to find clear ways to talk to you guys, because I know that there's a lot of things that I don't know how to communicate, and or is very hard concept to understand, and I don't want to confuse anyone. So that's why also, if you need clarification, please let me know, because I don't want to leave anyone confused or doubtful, you know. So let me know. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Have an amazing day, and remember to do what you love every single day.